All right, so I've been meaning to tell this story on the channel for a while now. Every time I'm trying to plan to make the video, something else comes up or I get distracted, whatever nonsense happens. Today, I am finally telling you all the story of the time I went to my first black cookout. And let me tell you all seriously, this was an experience I would pay money to deal with again. This was one of the craziest days of my life. I've never been so confused, ever. So this story takes place during my junior year of high school. It was a very normal day. I went to basketball practice. I fucking died. I came out of there. I'm sweating to death. I'm starving. I'm tired. You all know the vibes if you've ever had a crazy coach that just works you to death and you play a sport. Anyway, so the practice ends and I'm chilling in the locker room and my friend comes up to me, right, who's also on the team. I'm not going to say his real name. We're going to refer to him as Tyrone for this story. I just thought that was nice and stereotypical and pretty fucking stupid. So we're going to call him Tyrone, right? So anyway, he comes in there, he daps me up, we're yapping about nonsense. I don't even remember what we were talking about. The only detail that I remember is as he was leaving, he turns around and he goes, "Oh yeah, me and my family, like we're having a cookout tomorrow. Like if you're down, you should pull up." So naively, not knowing what I was getting myself into, I heard the words free food in my head and I was like, yo, fuck it. Like I'm not doing anything tomorrow. Like I'm pulling up to that cookout. So I look at him and I'm like, bet, like, just let me know. Like, do you need me to bring anything? Like, I could bring some shit. And he just laughs a little and he looks me dead in my eyes and says, just bring yourself. And let me pause right here and say this, because this is a lesson I've learned throughout my life. If one of your black friends ever says to just bring yourself to a cookout or anywhere else, understand you are walking into a cultural experience. You're not just showing up there for a fucking hot dog or a cheeseburger. You are going there and you are entering a whole new community you didn't even know existed. So anyway, fast forward to Saturday. I'm literally just chilling around on my phone. I get a text from my boy Tyrone. It's the address. I'm like, okay, bet. Like I was 17 at this point. I had literally just gotten my license. I'm looking for any excuse to drive at this point, and free food is definitely a good one. So I'm like, all right, bet. I see the address and I start driving myself up there. Now, as I'm pulling into his house, this should have been a red flag to me, but I didn't pick up on it at the time. I'm trying to find somewhere to park, and I'm like, holy shit, his neighbor like must be throwing a party or something. I'm thinking this to myself because there's so many cars. Like I couldn't even find a spot. I had to park like all the way down the road and hike my ass up to his house. I was like, Jesus, like what type of party are his neighbors throwing in the middle of like, keep in mind, this is like the middle of October. Like, what are you throwing a Halloween party? Like, what is this? Now, when I got out of my car and I walked around to the back of his house and got to the backyard, that is when I knew that I royally fucked up. Because remember how I said, oh, his neighbors must be throwing a party? Nope, it was this motherfucker, all right? Let me just paint a picture for you all. When you say you're having a cookout to a white person, I'm assuming it's gonna be 10, 15 people maximum, and you're gonna be like grilling hot dogs and hamburgers or some shit. That is a white people cookout. I pull up into this backyard. There's tents, there's tables. I'm looking at least 60 people. Not a single one of them is white except for me. There is music blaring in my ears. I'm looking at a DJ. He's got headphones. He's on a fucking mixing table like he's out there opening for Usher. And I'm walking up there and I'm staring at these people. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to do. Now, as I'm getting closer and I start walking up the backyard, heads start turning around. People are looking at me like I'm an escaped animal from a zoo, like I'm a gorilla that just broke out of the fucking exhibit at like the Bronx Zoo or some shit. Like people are looking at me like I do not belong there. And I'm like, oh, fuck this. So I'm looking around this place and I'm like, yeah, it's time to go. Like, what am I even still doing here? Because who knows what's about to go down? I clearly do not belong here. I'm ready to moonwalk Michael Jackson, like just get the hell out of there. And then out of nowhere, my boy Tyrone just spawns in front of me and goes, oh, yo, you made it, bro. Yo, come meet everybody. So now at this point, I really don't have an option. He kind of just like starts walking and I start following him because I don't know what else to do. So we're wandering around this cookout. This shit basically turned into a whole meet and greet. So the first person I end up getting dragged to meet, I think he said this was his aunt, okay? This was like a 50-year-old black woman. I'm not trying to be rude. She was pretty overweight. She had big ass arms. The best way I could describe it, and I'm really not trying to be rude, she had like lunch lady arms, okay? And from my experience, anytime I've been near anyone like that who's cooking, that shit is about to slap. So anyway, she starts looking at me, right? And she's squinting at me and she's looking me up and down. I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell she's doing. And before I can even introduce myself or say anything, she just turns to Tyrone and says, and I quote, "Who is this little white boy?" So I'm starting to get nervous. I'm like, oh fuck, like Tyrone better bail me out and like vouch for me or something. But before I can even like interject or say something, or before fucking Tyrone can even respond, she just says, "I'm just kidding with you, baby." And she comes over and fucking gives me a big ass hug and starts yapping to me. She was yapping about all kinds of nonsense, asking if I believe in God, like how long have I known Tyrone, like all of this bullshit. I'm like, what is going on? Now, in the middle of the conversation, when I'm in the middle of saying something, I don't even remember what I was saying. She just kind of started dragging me towards the food table. And at that point, I would have been damned if I said anything to wrong her. She was like fucking top rep at this cookout, apparently. Like she was the queen. I'm not fucking with her. So she drags me over to this food table. All I'm seeing at this food table, I'm seeing mac and cheese, ribs. I'm seeing like collard greens, cornbread. I remember there were like some deviled eggs. There was all kinds of shit that me as a white guy, I have never seen any of these foods at a cookout in my fucking life. So I'm standing there starving. I'm looking at all of this like magnificent food on the table in front of me. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm digging in. Like, what the hell are we still doing talking is what I'm thinking to myself. So I grab a plate and I grab a spoon and some silverware and I go to start fixing myself up a plate. I'm about to start reaching in the mac and cheese. And Tyrone comes up behind me and literally smacks my hand. And I'm like, what the fuck? I turn around and before I can even ask him why he just smacked my hand, he just goes, yo, you gotta chill, bro. Like, you gotta wait for Big Mama. Now, the way he said Big Mama literally put the fear of God into my body, bro. He said it like it was the final boss in like a Zelda game or some shit. Literally like the final boss you beat to 100% the game. That's what it sounded like. So I just look at him. I'm like, who is Big Mama? And he puts his arm around me and he points. There's a woman sitting in the shade. She's literally wearing a straw hat. She's got sunglasses on and like some kind of like floral dress on. Not moving at all, just like sitting there watching everyone. Like, this is literally what I'm saying, like a final boss. So I'm like, okay, cool. The last person I want to piss off is that woman over there looking like a final boss. So I just go back to talking to Tyrone. I'm like, yeah, we're not pissing her off. Let's wait a minute. So he's like, okay, cool. We're talking for like a few minutes. Eventually, she gives the nod and we're sitting at a table and I see no one else moving. I'm like, cool. I'm fucking hungry. I just saw her give the signal. So I start getting up, and then this was mistake number 2 that I made. Now, apparently, this is an international rule for any black cookout that I was not aware of. You do not fix your own plate. They will fix that shit for you. Do not even think of getting up and fucking putting a plate together like a fort. Don't even think about it, okay? Don't even think about getting up. If you try to fix your own plate, you will pay for it. And that's what happened to me. So I get up, I get ready to start fixing the plate. And then I just feel a hand on my shoulder and I low-key start shitting myself. I'm like, who is behind me right now? I turn around. It's the same aunt from before. She just looks at me and goes, no, baby, you don't fix that yourself. Go have a seat. And I'm like, oh, we're not fucking with her. So I go sit back down. I have learned my lesson and I get ready to have some food. So she eventually fixes up the plate for me. She hands it to me. It's a little bit of everything. Ass plate is basically what's on here. I go sit down. And I start eating this food, bro. And I swear to all of you, like on my life, I'm looking into the spirit realm. Like, this is the best food I have ever had in my fucking life, bro. And I'm just sitting there. I am devouring all of this food. I'm literally sitting by myself. I don't give a shit. The food is so good that I'm not even thinking about that. I am just shoveling this food into my mouth like a fat fuck. And I am enjoying every last bite like it is the last meal I will ever eat. It was that good, bro. So then once Tyrone gets his plate fixed up by fucking mama over there, whoever the hell cooked up his food, he comes over, he sits next to me, we start talking. And I'm thinking to myself like, wow, I survived this shit. Like I got some fire food out of it. Once I'm done here, let me get the fuck out of here. Say thank you for the food. I need to get gone because I need to be counting my lucky stripes out here. And as I'm thinking this to myself, one of Tyrone's, apparently, I think this was one of his uncles, okay? He comes up and just slaps a deck of cards on the table and goes, y'all play spades? Literally in that deep of a voice. And they're all looking at me because I guess it's just implied that every black person plays spades. I don't know if that's a thing. You can let me know in the comments. Okay, I've never played spades in my life. So I look at him like he's waiting for an answer. I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I played Uno. Like, that's literally the only card game I know how to play. And none of them say anything. It is just dead silence. All of them are just staring at me. And they were looking at me like they were about to throw me the fuck out of there. And then one of them eventually breaks the silence and says, yeah, just go get the punch. It's inside on the counter, bro. So I wander in this house. I'm in the kitchen. I see like 5 different black women just chefing shit up in this kitchen. I don't know what's going on. I ignore all of it. I just grab the punch and I'm looking at this shit. This literally, it was like a red chug jug from Fortnite. This thing was looking like it was glowing. It had all kinds of shit going on. I'm wondering to myself, what is in this punch, bro? It literally looked like they took some Kool-Aid and whipped that shit up with like some rocket fuel or something. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, I grab it. I bring that shit outside. I put it on the table. They start pouring up the fucking red Solo cups. They start pouring that shit up. They asked me if I want some. So I was like, I'm not saying no to something that looks that fucking bodacious. All right, like I'm drinking that shit. So I take a sip of that and I literally felt like I was reborn. I don't know what was in that. And I really can't even describe the taste to you. It fucking slapped though. Now, eventually, I start kind of getting into like a food coma. You know, like on Thanksgiving, when you eat too much food, you start getting really tired. I started to get to that point. They were kind of trying to show me how to play spades. I really was not following along at all. I don't know what the hell happened, like genuinely. At some point, I was like, there, I had my cards, and I kind of like leaned my head back a little bit. I don't know when this happened, but apparently, I fell asleep. This is what my friend Tyrone tells me. I don't know why they didn't wake me up or what happened. Apparently, I fell asleep because the next thing I remember, I like picked up my head. I'm like drooling down my face. I'm like, what is going on? And I look up. It's pitch black dark in this backyard. It's nighttime out here. And they got music playing. People are dancing all over the place. I'm just at this table by myself. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So my first thought is, I have to go find Tyrone. Like, what the fuck is happening? I'm trying to reorient myself and figure out where I am. I don't know what's going on. So I get up going on this dance area where everyone's just boogieing the fuck down. I'm trying to go find him. And on the way, I run into this guy's fucking aunt again, okay? And she's just holding a big ass, like it's not even a plate. It's like a to-go platter. When you get like catering from a restaurant is like the best comparison I can make. She just looks at me and goes, oh, hey, I've been looking for you. And she just hands that to me and goes, here you go, baby. This is yours. And I'm still half awake at this point. So I'm like, okay, I take it from her. She kind of like throws it into my hands. I'm like, all right, I'll fucking take it. And I tell her, thank you. And she says, no problem. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me find fucking Tyrone now to figure out what was going on. Eventually, I find him and he goes, oh, yo, I see my aunt found you, bro. Like, I'm glad you got your food. And I'm like, well, what? So I'm not going to question why I was given free food. That food was amazing. So I was like, okay, whatever. At this point, I start grabbing my phone. I'm like, what fucking time is it? I look down at my phone. It's 10 o'clock. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I got to get going. Like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I told my parents I'd be back by like 8, bro. So he looks at me and he's like, okay, cool. We just got to say goodbye to everyone. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. So I'm going around, I'm saying goodbye to like all the aunts and the uncles and like the big mama. I already forgot what her fucking name was. I said it earlier in the video. I'm saying goodbye to everyone. Eventually, I finally make it out of there. Big mama is waving me goodbye as I go. And I genuinely could not even process any of the shit that was going on. All I was trying to do was get to my car and get the fuck out of there. But yeah, eventually I made it to my car. I pulled out of there and I got home with a shitload of extra food. So that's pretty much the story there of my first black cookout. It was a wild adventure, bro. So anyway, what did I learn here? What's the moral of the story? Let's get into it, okay? I will always say yes anytime any of my friends invite me to a cookout now, regardless of the race. I will always wait for Big Mama, and I will never fix myself up a plate at any cookout. That's going to give me PTSD for the rest of my life. And I will never disrespect the fruit punch ever again in my life because that shit was magnificent. That's the moral of the story here, people. But yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed the video in the comments. If you're a white guy who's ever been to a black cookout, let me know if you relate to any of this. And on that note, people, I'm out of here. I love you all. Thank you for watching to the end. Peace.